Hello, my name is Harzing and I'm a professor, research mentor and staff development lead at Middlesex University, London. Today I will be talking about how to support early and mid-career academics with collaborative and inclusive cultures. My presentation focuses on research cultures as that's where most of my experience in the last 30 years lies, but much of what I discuss today can be applied equally to other areas of academia. Now here's the argument in a nutshell. Starting with the core, I will discuss why people are simply everything in academia, why collaborative and inclusive cultures and communities are essential, and why we need to focus on early and mid-career academics. I will then discuss three challenges: mimicry versus distinctiveness, grand strategy versus granularity, and how to ensure sustainability. We will then finish up on a practical note, talking about what kind of leadership is needed to support early and mid-career academics. Now, the final and by far shortest part of this presentation is mainly a kick-off to our plenary discussion, and it looks at what the options are in practice if you want to provide positive leadership for collaborative and inclusive cultures. Recently, Russell Group universities published a report on strengthening the UK research culture and environment, and they identified several universities that had a dedicated role for research development, research culture or research environment. More generally, I see three key options for developing and sustaining collaborative and inclusive cultures. The first option would be to simply include this responsibility in the research director role, which might work very well in smaller institutions and in the early phases, but this is very hard to scale up. The second option could be to work with distributed professorial leadership, and again this might work well in some institutions, but you do need to have professors who are intrinsically motivated to do this and who are not too focused on their own career. In some countries there might also be a bit of a demographic mismatch. In the UK, many senior professors are white British males, whereas most junior academics are non-British, non-native English speakers, and many are female. And that's not necessarily a problem, but mentorship for non-majority mentees usually works best if they are matched with non-majority mentors. Now, the third option would be to have a dedicated role, as in the Russell Group examples I gave in the previous slide, and my own role at Middlesex. And I have speculated a bit on this slide about some criteria that might make for a good candidate. So this is where my role fits in within the current Middlesex University leadership structure for research. You might be interested to have a look at this structure for just a few moments. We have purposefully attempted to provide leadership at every level, and the academics fulfilling these leadership positions are at very different academic levels themselves. And just to clarify the difference between a Deputy Dean Research and Knowledge Exchange and my role as Staff Development Lead, I've summarized the key differences here. But in reality, this is more of a continuing with different emphasis. The Deputy Dean also provides individual level local support, and I also take on institutional level roles. In sum, I think that developing collaborative and inclusive cultures is central to both academic success and well-being. So I think every institution should have someone who takes responsibility for this. Someone who can also frame development and mentoring in an EDI context. But every organization is different, so what works for Middlesex University might not work in your own organization. So I'm really looking forward to our discussion on this.